yes, the game was not amazing, but they made history for Tottenham because Tottenham didn't have a trophy for so many years. But when you ask me if I was cheering, I was divided because by one side I love United. I have a fantastic relationship with Ruben, but in the other side, when I saw Sonny crying with the cup, and also for Tottenham fans, has of course a special feeling. The impact is up.
Come on, Jose.
There's one of y'all. Jose hates you. Why'd you rate him?
Tough working, Marty,
What?
but you know, we don't have to talk shop with Marty. Let's talk about
He just
something
said,
else you and
when I saw Son crying with the trophy,
Like some...
and for the Tottenham fans,
Nothing.
he hates Mr. Levy.
There's something funny going on.
I'm pretty sure this is how I always act.
I know this guy like the back of my own dick.
Yeah, classic back record. Totally, yeah.
No. This
Levy.
performance is
Mr.
inauthentic.
Levy.
I promise it's nothing, yeah.
I saw that look.
What look?
I saw that look.
No,
It's a furtive look. It was furtive.
we are not being furtive.
Never been furtive in my life.
No.
Oh, no, that's furtive. I know furtive. There's one thing I know, it's furtive, okay?
Look, Marty, there's something you should know, and Sal is actually going to take the lead on this and tell you.
Sal.
Yeah, I do.
Marty, first of all, can I say, you're the reason I'm in this business.
Who the fuck are you? What are you trying to say?
We're going in a different direction, and we're not doing the Jonestown version of Kool-Aid.
You know what? Fine. I mean, it's fun. But I gotta tell you, Matt, honestly, it's not surprising. Because you're just another run-of-the-mill, faceless, talentless, spineless suit.
I have a face.
Just give me back my movie and let me go sell it to fucking Apple the way I should have done it in the first place.
I can't do that.
Let me get this straight. You bought my movie just to kill it?
I did.
He did.
We'll leave you alone, Mr. Scorsese.
God, he's crying. He's sobbing. He's fucking sobbing. I made him see it. I was really just talking to him. Damn it, who's telling her what happened? You rat, keep your fucking mouth shut, dick. I'm just looking at us, okay? Just be cool. He's gonna kick us out. You're the head of the studio. Stop kicking my fucking show.
Sorry, ladies.
Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, sorry. Thank you for having us. Sorry, Marty.
You ready?
Apparently they can hear us.
What?
They can hear comments. What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for a long stream for you guys. We've got a lot to get through. What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Double intro.
A hot mic and then a double intro.
Mr. Levy's team. But yeah, we got a lot to get through today, and I guess let's start off with a Tottenham update. Some transfer news doing the rounds at the moment, so let's get stuck into that. Starting off with Ange Postecoglou, as congratulations is in order to Ange Postecoglou.
Another trophy.
Because he has been awarded the John Duncan Award, awarded by the LMA to a manager who had a historical achievement with their club in a given season. So big up to Ange Postecoglou.
Another trophy for Ange this season. I don't know who else has received that in recent years. Has Arteta got an LMA?
Definitely not.
Don't think so. So fair. I don't know. Maybe he has. But big up to Ange Postecoglou. Well deserved. It's a historic achievement for him. Something, as he says, in the Premier League era, completely unprecedented. So fair play to him. Look, I'm not going to lie. I didn't know what this award was before yesterday. But here we go.
It's such a prestigious award.
Clear, very prestigious. Big award for big Ange Postecoglou.
John Cross does say that the expectation still remains that Ange Postecoglou will be sacked by Tottenham Hotspur. But he does say, however, there is unlikely to be a quick resolution over his future. I mean, the way I'm looking at it is that the whole plan was all along for a while now to sack Ange at the end of the season. But I do feel like Levy's probably been thrown back, you know, with the outpour of togetherness between the players and Ange and the fans now, and Ange as well. So I feel like he's kind of dithering on his decision.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit ridiculous. Like, that is one thing we definitely do know, is that clearly if the plan was to always keep him, we would know that by now. If the plan was to always sack him, we would kind of know that by now. And we're looking at the situation since we've won that final. They're now in limbo, not making any sort of decision, not sure how we're going to go about it. And I think it's a bit ridiculous, to be honest. They should have planned for this eventuality beforehand, because they'd known there was a possibility we were going to win that final.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think that the plan, regardless of if we won it or if we lost it, was to sack him. That's what I think.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think you don't dither like this unless that was always the plan, I would say. Because if the plan was, when we keep him, then we would hear it. We would have known it by now.
No, I just think the plan was to always sack him, and Levy just didn't realise the togetherness within the club with the players, and also the outpouring from the fans as well.
Yeah, and I think it's ridiculous that he didn't maybe guess that might happen towards a manager who's said he was going to win a trophy in the second season, and when he actually does it, and especially a big trophy like the Europa League, what kind of impact that was going to have, and the celebrations and everything.
Wouldn't be the first time he hasn't read the room.
I know, but it's like, again, how many times this board and the chairman suffer from a lack of planning going forward and a lack of foresight, because they should have probably understood that this was a likely scenario, and they should have, before, like, going forward, I know the season's gone how it's gone, but they should have, going into that final, known if he loses, this is going to happen. If they win, we're going to do this. They should have planned for all these eventualities. It's not really that hard to predict that this was going to happen. Is it a massive shock? For me, I know for you, maybe, because you said you maybe underestimated the impact or your feelings after the win and how that was going to change. But I mean, for me, I always knew if we won that final, what impact that was going to have, how massive it would be. And I just think for a company that's, you know, a business, I should say, £4 billion worth, right? There's not one person in that boardroom that could have predicted this. You know what I mean? Is it that crazy that Ange was going to get a lot of love and a lot of support if we was to win that Europa League? Is it that out of this world that they're now sitting here so gobsmacked that they're so paralysed by any sort of decision they can't decide because they're just so unbelievably blown away by the manager getting support after winning a European trophy? I just think it's a bit ridiculous. Like, they should have realised this was a pretty good possibility of happening.
Yeah, I think some people in the boardroom would have known and would have, you know, had the foresight to think that this would happen. But ultimately, the decision lies with Daniel Levy, and your guess is as good as mine. Like, I really don't know which way this is going to go. It's mad to think. I think it's literally on a knife edge right now. It's a 50-50 decision which way it goes, in my opinion.
It's a weird one because I hear some fans saying if they were going to sack him, we would have heard by now, and then I hear other fans saying if they were going to keep him, we would have heard by now. You can literally take it either way you want. I think both are true in a weird way, because as I've said before, if they were going to sack him, you would have hoped they had someone lined up, and you would have hoped we would have heard some really serious links to managers. And let's be honest, as much as there are some tentative links in the moment, there's no one really, even leading up to the final, there was no one like, okay, there's serious talks about this guy or that guy. It was always like, oh, this is a list and maybe they'll go for him or that. There's no like serious link. But as well, if the plan obviously was to keep him, then there's no reason to delay any sort of messaging from journalists or anything that the likelihood is or the event or that the decision is that he's going to get another season. And we haven't heard that either. So literally, whatever way you look at it or whatever way you're thinking or whatever narrative you want to spin, you can spin it right now because it's literally in the balance. And I think the chairman and the fact that they're so unsure and they're dithering. I mean, that's the only thing we do know for sure is that they're very much are dithering, right? Because we would have heard a decision either way if they weren't. So that's the one thing we definitely know is that they haven't made a decision whether he's staying or not, which is, I think, ridiculous. And I think that, you should, a club of this size and a club with this much, revenue and making this much money in a business of this size essentially should be making better decisions with more foresight, I feel. And I think it's a bit ridiculous that we're sitting here, other clubs are making signings and we're just in limbo like, do we want to keep this guy or not? Like, make a decisive decision.
Exactly. Whichever way they want to go, like, I can probably get behind either way. Like, I prefer Ange to stay, but if they are to let him go at this moment in time, and they bring an adequate replacement in, I can still get behind it. So both eventualities, I think, could be good options for us, but they just need to make that decision. And they need to make it like 3 days ago. Yeah, agreed.
But the issue is now if they're not close to a manager, do we want to sack publicly anyway? From a PR standpoint, are they going to sack Ange without someone lined up and go through this protracted public manager search, or they're only going to announce the sacking of Ange once they have someone really ready in place? So they do what they did with Poch, where we didn't. They literally hired Mourinho very quickly after Poch was sacked, and we didn't really have that time to like go crazy at the ball because we already had someone put in.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing they did, although it wasn't a good thing they sacked Poch. It was a good thing though that it was swiftly dealt with. It wasn't like a long protracted search, which was positive. So maybe they're like, okay, maybe we're only going to announce Ange sacking once we have someone serious lined up, and we actually have that. But
unless that is the case, right, where Levy's decision is made up and we, probably behind closed doors have already parted companies with Ange and they're just waiting for someone to sign the deal to be our manager for next season.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But in terms of another potential manager, there are links today to Simone Inzaghi, Fabio Biasin. So reports coming from Italy saying that Tottenham remain interested in appointing Inzaghi. Inzaghi has decisive talks planned with Inter Milan after the Champions League final to determine whether he will remain at the club. I mean, this is probably an option where, no one's going to say no to Inzaghi.
Yeah, he's one of the ones I was saying, if there's like a really outstanding candidate who obviously has Champions League experience and I really believe is one that we just can't miss out on, then yeah, Inzaghi is probably one of those, because obviously he took over from Conte, who left after winning the league for Inter, but he left because he felt he wasn't getting backed. He was going to lose, I think, Lukaku at the time, and I think he was good. They replaced him with a free Edin Dzeko and these kind of things. And Inter at that time, despite winning the league, I think they lost Hakimi as well that summer. And Inzaghi took on that challenge and didn't kind of look at that challenge and think, oh, this is, not a club I want to be part of because of X, Y, and Z, like Conte, who threw his toys out the pram. He's like, I'm going to deal with this. I'm gonna put things in place, which means we're going to still be challenging despite not being in a great financial position, despite maybe losing some of our best players. And he has done a phenomenal job. Absolutely phenomenal. Won the league once or twice, definitely once, and then obviously just missed out this year.
Because this is his third year, right?
Yeah.
So he's lost it twice to Napoli, hasn't he?
So he lost it twice, and I think also maybe once to AC, maybe? Or was he at Conte?
He won the year one. He won the league once. So in 3 years, he's lost the league twice to Napoli and won it once, I think.
Yeah, so he won it once and then also got to a Champions League final as well. And they were very close in that final against Man City.
Did he get to 2 Champions League finals, or was that
and,
not Inzaghi?
and this is Inzaghi, it's the
yeah.
second one.
Okay,
So
fine,
I'm
yeah.
saying he got to a Champions League final and lost to City. They were very close in that final. If it wasn't for some Lukaku misses, they might have won that. And now he's got to a second Champions League final. All, by the way, on a budget where they're very much relying on like free transfers and very cheap signings. They're not ones that are going to spend millions and millions. When you look at their team, he's very good. Well, him and his recruitment are very good at getting value and cheap alternatives in the market and making it work. Marcus Thuram on a free. Selling Hakimi and getting Dumfries, Hakan Çalhanoğlu, getting him on a free from AC Milan when he was discarded and making him one of the best playmakers in Europe. Obviously, he was taken on Lautaro Martinez, even using that to Dzeko, Taremi, even signing the likes of Arnautovic, making use of him. Like, very, very good at doing that. And as well, he plays a back three. It's defensively solid, but it's also very good football as well when they get it right, and actually a lot more free flowing when it's. I feel like Conte plays his 3-4-3 with a lot more rigidity, whereas Inzaghi plays it a lot more offensive, a lot more free flowing, a lot more attractive. And yes, there are sometimes games where they do sip deep and it's, they're just defensively solid and the football isn't so great to watch. But they also, I think last season or this season, were top goal scorers in the league. Like, they do score a lot of goals and they are actually on their day, very attractive to watch as well. And he's shown he can work within a budget.
They are, more a defence first team. Like a Conte Inter team, they were probably the highest scorers in the league as well.
But
they scored a lot of goals.
The football's a lot better, I can tell you. The football's a lot better under Inzaghi than it is Conte.
Because it's not like high pressing football and gung ho attacking football. Like when Ange came in, everyone was, there was a clamour for attacking football. There was a clamour when Daniel Levy said, "Oh, we got our Tottenham back. We got attacking football back." I don't think Inzaghi would be that. It would be maybe more attacking than Conte, fine, granted, but it's not the attacking football that everyone craved when Conte left.
No, but I'm just saying he's not a manager who plays bad football. Like it's not rigid. It's free flowing a lot of the time, and it's actually really good on the eye. You saw the semi-final against Barca. I know a lot of it was counter-attacking, but obviously you played to your strengths. Against Barca, it was counter-attacking, but in the previous rounds it wasn't just counter-attacking. It was actually front. He can play front foot football as well, and he's a manager for me. He's shown his pedigree because before Inter, he did a really good job at Lazio. I think he was getting them in the Champions League, and there's a reason he got the Inter job. He actually did a really good job at Lazio, and he's come in and shown his pedigree on the top stage and on the top level. And he's unlucky. Maybe he hasn't had a Champions League trophy. He might get one at the end of this season. Anyway, all this to say, I do think it's unlikely he comes to Tottenham. If I was him, I'll probably stay at Inter because he's got a good thing going there. He's got a really holistic approach with him and the recruitment and everything. It seems to work. So he can work on the structure.
He is going to be leaving at the end of the
season.
Yeah,
and obviously there's rumours about Al Hilal as well. And they want to make him the highest paid manager in the world. If he's open to coming to the Premier League, and obviously if you look at the Premier League, who else is there but Tottenham to really come to right now, then maybe he's open to it. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see where his head's truly at after the Champions League final. I think whether he wins or loses, maybe that'll make his decision. But I would love him. I think he's one manager who I can say, okay, yes, I want Ange to stay, but that's a manager who's available and wants to come. I don't really want to miss out on him. That's one manager maybe, but there's very few of those out there.
But what you got to say is it's another style shift from Tottenham Hotspur where we were told we were going to go this way and we're going to stick with this way. And now it's another kind of shift to another system and another way of playing football.
Agreed. And that would have to take time to sort out 100%.
But I also would say to that, I've been saying all season that I feel like the squad that we have is probably more suited to a 3 at the back system, which Inzaghi will bring. But I don't know. It's just it does seem very Paratici to me though. This Inzaghi kind of rumours, and if Paratici is coming back and with the powers of persuasion that he does have, I wouldn't bet against it.
He doesn't really play wingers. He likes to play a 5-3-2, high intensity wing backs. Dumfries is basically like a winger, and DeMarco on the other side, and he plays 2 up front.
It could suit Sonny a bit better, get him more inside with a partner up front. You know, Solanke and Son up top with maybe another one coming in if Richarlison's leaving. It wouldn't be too bad.
I think
Porro
Johnson
and
could maybe
Udogie.
do it.
Yeah, Johnson as well could do it, yeah.
One guy I'm maybe unsure of, maybe people like Tell, not sure where he fits in. Not Tell, so Tell first of all, but also Odebear, not sure
Tell
where he
will fit
fits
in
in.
as a striker as
Yeah,
well.
Tell could do it. Not Odebear, I don't know where he fits in. But to be fair, to be honest, a lot of our forward players are more forwards than wingers. Odebear's, and I guess you would have said Johnson, but I think Johnson's again more of a forward, isn't he? So I think maybe we do have the forwards to make it work potentially.
Yeah, I definitely think we got the defence to make it work, the wing backs to make it work, some of the midfielders to make it work. So in terms of the players that we have, I don't think it's a bad fit.
Well, it's whether it's realistic you'd come here.
Yeah,
That's the
and
question.
I think if you give him, you know, assurances, which, you know, we're not very good at, and if you give him a project, you know, I think he can back a project. I really do. And, you know, you look at the coming into this club with the stadium and everything, the training ground, the facilities, you know, put him on good wages, which we've liked to do with managers in the past, like Conte, Mourinho, and everything like that. I do think it's a project you can sell him.
I definitely think as well, Levy will be looking at Inzaghi and looking at his transfer record in terms of how cheap he gets players and how he gets them right. And he'll think, well, that's exactly what we're looking for. I know he's got a different recruitment team behind him, but in terms of how they work together with the recruitment team, clearly they've got something good going there.
Yeah, but I don't think Spurs would, like, you look at Italy and maybe even before Inzaghi, the signings that Inter used to make with like Ashley Young and, you know, Premier League cast-offs and older Premier League players coming in there and doing a really good job. I mean, I think it's easier doing that in Serie A than it is in the Premier League.
Potentially, but it's not just that. Look at Çalhanoğlu, got him on a free. Thuram, you know, got him on a free. Dumfries, they sold Hakimi and got him in, you know. So he's very good at getting these
What
really
wages
good
are they
deals.
paying these players though? Like, who
Dunno.
knows?
I don't know. Was it going to be massively different to what we're paying?
I don't know. We can have a quick look, but Inter Milan wages. I don't suspect they're paying crazy high wages, to be honest. But yeah, Çalhanoğlu's on 213 grand a week. I doubt we're paying him that. Dumfries is on like 100k. That's something in our price budget.
But Çalhanoğlu's been
86
Çalhanoğlu's been there for a bit, and also it's Euros anyway, isn't it? So,
euros. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a similar strategy, which I think Levy would love, in my opinion.
Maybe he can bring a Bastoni with him.
Oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Let's talk about potential targets going into the summer. Matt Barlow from the Daily Mail says that Eberechi Eze, Tyler Dibbling, Angel Gomez, Mark Gehi, Fikayo Tomori are players of interest to Spurs this summer. I mean, Eze is one that I would love to see through the door at this football club. Dibbling, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Dibbling. I like Dibbling a lot, but I just feel like we need to bring in experience this summer. Gomez, another free transfer, not bad one, but I think in terms of the number 8 position, if you're going forward with like Bergvall and Sarr in that position next season, I can't really see where Angel Gomez fits in. Gehi, I'd love through the door, and Tomori doesn't move me.
I know. In terms of a list, I'd hope we've got a lot more players, because that doesn't scream to me like a list like that's going to kick us on.
That sounds like a lazy list to me, because it's all just players that we've been linked to in the past.
Also, a list that if we would have lost that final, that's probably a list you would have expected. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, Eze, I think that's a player who I really love at Tottenham. I think can really add quality. But the others, like if we're saying we need a really experienced number 8, I don't know. I don't know if Angel Gomez is really that. Obviously, he has got experience at Champions
Do
League.
we need an experienced number 8 though?
Don't know.
I don't think we do. Like going into next season, you're looking at Bergvall probably going to be our starting number 8.
Well, not about. I mean, number 6. I mean.
Oh, 6, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
like I don't know if he's that. Dibbling, as you say, a good player, but he's 18. He's very young. Guehi's a lot, but are Palace really going to lose Gehi and Eze in the same window?
No, especially not getting European football next season as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Gehi, they're going to have to leave, going to have to get rid of probably, because he's going into his last year of his contract. They're not
Yeah.
going to want to lose him for free.
Mm.
Eberechi Eze, are they going to be able to hold him for another year? I don't know. It depends how much he wants to leave.
Yeah, I just hope we got a more bigger list than that.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about Leroy Sane. This was an interesting one that propped up yesterday. Sky Sports are claiming that Tottenham have been offered the chance to sign Leroy Sane, who is out of contract this summer. Bild are also reporting Tottenham is currently the English club showing the most concrete interest in Sane. After they qualify for next year's Champions League, Spurs are an attractive destination for Sane, in addition to the fact that his wife wants to live in London. Bayern want to know the player's final decision before travelling to the Club World Cup on June the 10th. So his contract is up at the end of the season. Bayern have offered him a new contract, but he is stalling on that deal.
I think this looks like a link to try and get that deal over the line rather than act a serious link to Tottenham. I don't think we're actually in for him, in my opinion.
I would love us to sign him, though.
I like him. He's a great player, don't get me wrong, and at his best, a phenomenal talent. But the guy is 29. This season hasn't started that. He started a few games, but very few games he's able to play 90 minutes, or even more than that. I was looking into him today. Yes, he's got a goal and assist record, but I think he started 29 games a season. Only 17 of them he's able to play more than 60 minutes, right?
So like James Maddison then.
And he's on massive wages, like 300 grand a week wages. Look, he's a top player, and he is the kind of pedigree you want. But at this stage of his career, I don't know if that's the right move for us.
I would love to bring him in on a short-term deal, like a 2-year contract, something like that. 2-3 year contract, winning mentality, been there, done it, can teach our players a lot in terms of, moving forward, developing young wingers. I think he could offer a lot of value to this football club.
Yeah, if we can get him on the pitch, that's the big problem.
What's his injury record like this season?
I don't think it's too bad, but he just, in terms of fitness-wise, he can't seem to last too long. That's the problem. He started 29 out of 50 games, which isn't terrible. But again, of those 29 games, I think he's played about 90 minutes. And a lot of them, he's barely lasted past 60.
Is that not too dissimilar to James Maddison?
Is that not too dissimilar to James Maddison?
Maddison's all season he has barely been able to last more than 65, 70 minutes.
I guess. Different, yeah, maybe.
And Maddison probably gets injured more regularly.
Maddison's played, I think, I don't know how many games this season. I think 41 games. Yeah, I guess, but that's a decent point.
And you wouldn't be sitting here saying, I want to sell James Maddison, or if Maddison was on the market, you wouldn't want to bring him in.
But I wouldn't want to pay 300 grand a week for him, probably.
Yeah. That's the point. The wages are the sticking point here. It depends if he's willing to take a cut in wages. I don't think anyone in world football are paying him that wages anymore.
No. And he's also, getting near 30. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a deal that we're likely to do.
Yeah, it's a good point as well. Van der Vaart never lasted that long either in games.
Yeah. But those kind of players aren't really, kind of Van der Vaarts who just a luxury player. They're not really that often common.
Yeah. But in terms of Sane, if you bring him in on the left wing and you share that role, let's say Ange stays and it's a left winger, right? You share that role between Sane and Son. Two very experienced players out on the left-hand side.
More on the right. I want him on the right, I would say.
Fine, on the right. So share that role with him and Brennan Johnson even. You know what I mean? Either having Brennan Johnson coming on for the last half an hour or having him coming on for the last half an hour. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah. Look, I like him. Obviously, he's a fantastic player. He's phenomenal for City. For Bayern, he's been good, but he's not been, incredible, but he's been good.
I think he has had his best return in terms of goal contributions this season, hasn't he? For Bayern.
I think he's got 14 goals. It's pretty good return. But obviously, Bayern in the Bundesliga is, it's a bit different. But, yeah obviously, if we sign him, I'm going to be excited, but I don't see him being here for more than 2 years.
Yeah, and that's all we need him for. That's all we need him for, 29 years of age, experience to get us where we need to be. This club and this team are dying for experience, If we were in Arsenal's position or, it's settled in the top 4 and stuff like that, then I probably would pass on him. Because of where we're at right now, so many young players. These young players need to have them guided through, and they need to learn off someone. And I think he'd be a really good guy to do that with.
Yeah.
But anyway, Sane, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. It looks like not many people in the comments do want him. It looks like I'm on my own on that one. But I'd love to see him through the door at this football club. I do think that that's the kind of experience we need.
I think the idea of him is better than what he actually offers.
Maybe. Let's talk about Cuti Romero. This is an interesting one now. As Sky Sports, Lyle Thomas says that Atletico Madrid are expected to approach Tottenham over signing Cuti Romero potentially as early as this week. It's not clear whether Levy will be willing to discuss the sale of Romero after Spurs won the Europa League to qualify for next year's Champions League. Check this one out. Atletico are believed to be willing to pay around £38 million for him, but believe Tottenham value him in excess of £49 million. First of all, that is just derisory at this point. Like, what are you lot on about? And Sport also claimed that Atletico Madrid's confidence in signing Romero is diminishing. Tottenham are showing a reluctance to even hold negotiations over a deal for Romero with Atletico Madrid. Simeone personally requested the centre-back. Romero is their number one target, but Spurs are showing a reluctance to even enter talks over a sale, which is music to my ears, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think after winning that Europa League and being in the Champions League and the fact that he's in the leadership group, I think that's obviously the right approach. And when you start negotiations, you just got to say, look, we don't think he's for sale. We don't want to sell him. And that's that. But obviously, as the window goes on, if Romero's pushing for it, especially, we've heard if Ange leaves, he doesn't want to stay, all that kind of stuff. He's very much tied to Ange. So that, obviously that position could definitely change, and if he's going to force a move. But 38 million is absolutely ridiculous. We signed him for more than that. 38 million is not even going to get his right leg. It's madness to think that they're going to get anything close, sign of anything close to that. Try doubling that, and then maybe we can start talking. 38 million is very much it's an insulting bid. It's an insulting starting place from Atletico Madrid. If they're coming in for it and pushing to sign him, they think they're going to get him for anywhere close to that, then they're in Dreamland, Cloud Cuckoo Land. They're in Dreamland. There's absolutely no chance. No chance. This is one of the best defenders in the world. He's I don't think he's ever lost a final. He's now won at club level. He's got unbelievable pedigree at international level. And he's one who's in our leadership group. We don't want to let him go. So to think, I know he's got 2 years left, but that doesn't mean his value drops to 38 million. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They need to spend like 2 installments of 38 million. Never mind just 38 million. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
These guys, if that is real and that is true, then it's complete a derisory offer, and Levy shouldn't even entertain it. To be honest, not even respond.
Exactly.
And last but not least, back to the Ryan Mason conversation, as Sky Sports are claiming that West Brom are now expected to approach Tottenham this week, requesting permission to speak to Ryan Mason. West Brom want to talk to him about becoming the next head coach. It's not clear what Spurs' position on the matter will be. And Jay Percy says that Mason set to hold talks with West Brom, with the Championship club making Mason their number one target for head coach.
Very interesting, and what a great opportunity it is for him. So good luck to him. It looks like they're really serious about it, and it looks like this could really be happening for him. Obviously, a move in the Championship to a big club, but it's as much as it's a good move, it comes with expectation, because a club like West Brom, obviously a team who've been in the Premier League many times, I'm sure their expectation is to be in the Premier League, challenge to be in the Premier League for next season. So he doesn't come in there I don't know where they finished last season, not going to lie, but I think they were close to the playoffs, weren't they?
It was around mid-table.
Yeah, I think going late into the season, they had an outside shot of it. So that it's a team that are going to want to challenge for at least the playoffs, or even in automatic. So he comes in there with expectation. And that's quite a big job for a first job, albeit in being in the Championship. But clearly they see something in Ryan.
Yeah, they finished 5 points off the playoffs.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad. So yeah, look, his remit next season will be to finish in the playoffs or above. That's what it will be. So, there'll be a lot of Tottenham eyes on that, that's for sure.
Good luck to him, and we'll be seeing how they play football and all that kind of stuff. And it's I'm excited to see how he gets on.
Yeah, me too. And I wish him all the best, and I hope he smashes it out at West Brom. And if he does, then that does open the possibility to him coming back to Tottenham and being manager one day.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, it gives us an opportunity to send our youngsters somewhere to go and develop in the Championship as well.
True. And maybe if we send someone like Lancashire back there, he will actually get more game time.
Even someone like a Jamie Donnelly, Jamie Donnelly obviously failed. They failed to get promotion to the Championship. So we're probably going to be looking for a championship loan for him next season.
And what's great is Ryan obviously will know the players inside out. It's
Yeah.
not much. It's not only about him willing to take our players because he was at us. He knows them. He'll know how to play them, what they're good at. He's not coming in and learning about them. He'll know to bring them in, and we're going to play this kind of way, and this is how they're going to fit in here. So that's really, really great.
Yeah, so that Jamie Donnelly won't be there starting left back then. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Hopefully we get some more news as the day progresses. But we've got a lot more to get through today, guys. And we know at the end of each and every season, we like to react to our predictions that we made at the beginning of the season. Some good ones, some muddy ones. We'll see how mudded we get over these predictions. But first up, we're going to be looking at the Tottenham competition predictions and see what we predicted at the beginning of the season. So let's get into that. And in terms of where we predicted Spurs to finish in the Premier League, Sim predicted 4th. I predicted 3rd.
17th.
We ended up finished 17th.
Yeah, it wasn't.
That is so muddy, man.
Oh, that's terrible. I know, look, to be fair, I don't think anyone would have predicted in anywhere close to 17th before the season. So I don't think we're the only ones. But yeah, 4th and 3rd is. Yeah, I think we have to gloss over that one. It was just got it very, very wrong. Very, very wrong. Shocking.
Now the big one. What did we predict for Europa League, for Tottenham's Europa League campaign last season? Let's have a look at this. So Sim predicted Spurs to lose in the final, and I predicted Spurs to lose in the semi-final.
Should have said winners. Should have just gone all the way. Look, when it gets to the finals, 50-50, isn't it? But finally, predicted us to go a long way. I was confident in the competition, but I just...
Not confident enough.
Not confident enough. Should have put my balls on the table and said winners. But look, I'm all right. Final prediction's not a bad prediction.
Semi-final, I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that at all. If only I knew we were going to get Bodo in a semi-final. FA Cup, we obviously got to the 4th round. Sim predicted 5th round. Not too bad.
Not too bad. 1 round out.
And I predicted quarter-final. Obviously didn't envisage the injury crisis.
Yeah. Obviously went out to Aston Villa. It's unfortunate. Beat Tamworth famously. Wasn't the best game, that one. But yeah, 4th round. Not bad prediction for me.
Yeah. Just one off every time you are. See,
apart from the Premier League.
Well, when you said 4th, you meant 4th bottom, didn't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, come on, 4th bottom. Should have clarified my position.
And finally, the Carabao Cup. We got to the semi-final, obviously. And Sim said
look
semi-final.
at that. Look at that.
I
Beautiful.
said winner. I said we'd win the Carabao. So I knew we were bringing home a trophy this season at some point, some way.
So forget the league prediction, and I'm not doing too bad here. I'm not doing too bad.
I'm happy that I said winner to something. I knew Ange was going to bring a trophy in his second year.
You know we win a cup.
I knew Ange was going to bring a trophy in his second year.
Yeah, true. I didn't predict any winners. You're right, but my cup predictions are not bad overall.
Yeah, 1 out every time. Apart from
semis.
Yeah,
got it right.
Apart from the Carabao Cup. Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Next up, we're going to go to the player predictions for Spurs and see what we predicted at the beginning of the season. So first of all was player of the season. Bergvall won it. And we predicted Romero. We both predicted Romero to get our player of the season.
Well, he won the Europa player of the season, so it's not a terrible
but he
prediction.
was not Spurs' player of the season this year.
No, but it's not a terrible prediction. He won the whole Europa player of the season, so you can say he had a pretty good season there.
Yeah, but he did not have a good Premier League campaign.
Didn't have a great Premier League campaign when he in the beginning, but I think overall, obviously, captained us in the final. Had a brilliant knockout stage of the Europa League. And ended the season as the whole Europa League player of the season. So to say he was going to be our player of the season isn't the worst prediction in the world. But obviously, the first half of the season before his injury wasn't great, was he? I think we can definitely say that.
Yeah.
And making a lot of mistakes. But look, we all want him to stay, don't we, for a reason? Because we saw what he can do.
Yeah. Young player of the season prediction. So Bergvall won it, and we both predicted Bergvall. I think this was off the back of pre-season. We saw how special he was in pre-season.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, he took a bit of a while to get to grips with it at the beginning of the season, and but he's unbelievable. What a player we have on our hands with Lucas Bergvall, and to show that he won player of the season for Tottenham in his first season. It's just unbelievable. And yeah, young player of the season prediction, bang on.
Yeah, and what a first season for him. Yes, it took him a few months to get adjusted to the Premier League and get adjusted to that level, but once he did, he flew. He really did. He he was setting the picture light in so many games. I'm just so looking forward to having that Bergvall from the beginning of next season and moving forward there, because I think it's going to be a delight. And I'm just so excited about how he progresses. But fair play to Bergvall. Brilliant first season for him. And he really lived up to the hype. One of the few players who does that.
Yeah. Surprise package of the season. Sim went for Bentancur. I went for Mikey Moore. Who was our surprise package of this? It's probably Bergvall.
Probably Bergvall, or trying to think. Who would you say is Spence probably?
Spence.
Yeah, Spence you'd probably have to say is our surprise package of the season.
Yeah, I'd agree
in terms
with
of a
that.
player beginning, I know he had a decent preseason, but the way he came on was brilliant. I'm trying to remember why I justified Bentancur at the beginning of the season, but obviously last season wasn't great for him, coming back from injury. This season, been very stop-start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Got the ban, got the head injuries, so was difficult for him. But I think, to be fair, second half, especially in Europa, he was brilliant. Premier League, probably, again, hit and miss. But in the Europa League, for sure, he was fantastic.
It was
in
the
the
last
run-in.
3 rounds, wasn't it? Frankfurt, Bodo, and in the final, he was brilliant.
Yeah. And I think against RZ as well, it was also pretty good. I think he was pretty good in that Europa League run.
But then you look at the 2 games we went out to in the Cup, I thought he was dreadful in those games.
It's true.
For me, Mikey Moore, I mean, everyone knows why I would have picked Mikey Moore, a young player coming through. And I think, look, for Mikey Moore, for what he is, 17-year-old kid coming from the academy, I think he had a really good season.
Yeah, agreed. I agree. I think for a 17-year-old, again, people, because they're so desperate for him to be the star, like never seen before generational talent, like whenever he has a bad game or whatever, people like hone in on that. But for a 17-year-old playing as much as he did, I think he played 15 games this season, scoring his first goal, had a few standout games as well. You can't ask for too much more from a 17-year-old, in my opinion. So fair play to Mikey Moore.
Yeah, the Europa League group stages for him were brilliant. They really were. Most improved player. Who did we go for most improved player?
Kulusevski. All right.
I went for Bentancur. So
take it.
I think Bentancur probably did. Would you say? Yeah, he did improve on last season, Bentancur.
Yeah, probably. Definitely second half of the season.
Yeah,
he did.
And Kulusevski, I mean, first 10 games he was brilliant, but then never really saw him back to those heights after that.
I would say up until December. People forget that run. Just because we were bad as a team, he was dragging us through a lot of those games. Even though he wasn't maybe as good as he was earlier in the season, he was still literally dragging us. And then he did have about a month period. He was in pretty bad form, got injured, never really recovered from that injury. But I think in terms of the season before, massively improved.
Yeah, agreed. Who is actually our most improved player this season?
Our most improved player this
Probably
season.
Brennan Johnson.
Brennan, you could say, obviously his output is upped, and people say I always say Brennan's improved, and people say, oh, apart from scoring more goals, what's he improved? It's like, what do you mean? That's him improving. That's him getting that position more often. That's him taking more chances, improving his finishing. Like, I don't know what people expect improvement to look like. That is him improving.
I think there's a few shouts. There's Brennan. There's Jed.
Yeah.
Oro potentially.
Has he improved?
Madison,
you could say Madison, because last season, I know he was injured for 3 months, but his output's much better this season. Wherever you want to slice him, much better. I think goals and assists is really good. Like, he's getting
Madison.
a lot more.
I'd say Madison's our most
up there.
improved player this season.
Albeit, again, he has had games, obviously, that's quite... I think Kulusevski's still got a shout of most improved in terms of the player he was this season compared to last season, different position. I think most improved, I think Kulusevski's got a big shout as well, in my opinion.
So who are you going to go for?
I think I would go for Decky. I think I won that one. I think him or Madison. Yeah, I'm not sure which one. Richie? No, not Richie. Why would he be there?
Nah.
No, Richie last season went on a great goal scoring run. They never really
it's
did
not
that
Richie.
this season.
I think I'll go for Brennan Johnson. Brennan
Brennan.
for his output. Big goals in big moments as well for Brennan. So, I'm going to go for Brennan Johnson for most improved. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who has Spurs' most improved player been? Now we're going to be looking at who we picked for flop of the season. Let's see who we've got here. So
All right,
I've gone for Suma. Sim's gone for Werner.
Taking that again.
Both very much. Basuma saved himself a little bit
a
towards the
little
end.
bit. He ran to the final. He can't be a bigger flop than Werner.
No, he's not a bigger flop than Werner. I'm not saying he is, but if I would have said to you, just before the semi-final, who's been a flop of the season, you would say Werner, but Bissouma would have been in the conversation
Yeah, he's in
as
the
well.
conversation. It's true. Yeah. But you got to remember as well, earlier in the season, I know he had that balloon gate, but actually he came back from that and was playing quite well for a time. I remember we were saying we were saying at the time anyway, he's learned from it, he's playing quite well. Maybe he scored that brilliant goal against Everton at the beginning.
Didn't last long though.
It was it wasn't like, yeah, you're right. It wasn't like for a massive extended period, but there was a little run at the beginning of the season where he played well. But yeah, definitely during the midway point of the season and definitely around February, March time was performing terribly. Like we just couldn't get any sort of good performances out of him. But then obviously came back into it, obviously late in the season in the Europa League run, a few half-decent performances in the Premier League as well. Obviously sprinkled in with a few poor ones as well. I remember coming on against Villa, he wasn't great. So I look.
The reality is though, he lost trust in the manager.
And then gained it back.
Yeah, then gained it back in the semi-final.
And the final.
And had three big performances for us.
Yeah, and that's massive.
So look, Werner's definitely flop of the season. There's no doubt about it.
He's just been terrible the whole year. Can you remember one like good game from him?
No.
He
didn't score a goal, did he, all season?
He did against City in the Cup.
Oh, that's the only goal.
Yeah, he did against City in the Cup. But after that, obviously, Ange hammered him away at Rangers, and we barely saw him after that. And Tamworth, and then we barely saw him.
Yeah.
And obviously wasn't included in the Europa League squad second half of the season.
Yeah, so Timo, we better not bloody sign him back again.
No, definitely not.
Best signing of the season, we both went for Solanke. Is Solanke our best signing of the season?
Probably Bergvall.
Albeit
If you can call it
Bergvall
that,
did sign
in January, if you call it that. Who else did we sign? Odeberg, Gray, Bergvall. Who else
Our
we
summer
signed?
business didn't really make an impact.
Obviously, we made this thing in the summer, so you don't include the likes of Dan, So and Tell and them lot, but Kinski. Probably is Solanke, to be honest, if we're not counting Bergvall.
If we are counting the winter transfers, does Danso win it?
I still think Solanke over
Still
Danso.
Solanke.
Yeah, I still think Solanke over Danso. Solanke, as much as his goal return in the Premier League alone, 9 goals, bit disappointing considering he got 19 for Bournemouth. Although, again, he had a big injury in January, which kept him out for 2 months. But still, you still expect a better goal return than 9. But I think overall, I would say more positive than negative from Solanke.
Yeah.
Pretty good start, like in terms of how he improves the team when he is playing. Obviously, we did expect more goal output for sure, maybe a bit more quality in front of goal. And maybe we hoped he'd make a bit more of a bigger impact for our attack, but he did make quite a decent impact. But yeah, I would still say he's been our best signing. But again, I think it's probably says more about our window than him himself.
Yeah, agreed. We definitely expected a lot more from Solanke this season.
But in all competitions, decent goal and assist, I think.
Yeah, not bad.
Europa
But
League.
I mean, you were making bets with lead judges at the beginning of the season about who's going to get more, him or Havertz, and they're similar. But when we saw him scoring 19 goals for Bournemouth last season, we were expecting a bigger output from that.
To not get 10 Premier League. Did he not get 10, I don't think?
He got 9.
He got 9, so that is very disappointing.
Yeah. In terms of top goal scorers, obviously we went for Solanke again. Brennan was our top goal scorer this season, so yeah.
How many did he get in the league? 11, I think.
Brennan?
Yeah, because he got 18 in all comps. So in the league, I think he was our top goal scorer on both, wasn't he? In the league, he got 11, 11 in the league, 5 in the Europa League. So fair play to him. Obviously, last season, he got a few goals, but it was more him getting assists. But this season, he really kind of honed in on that kind of output. So fair play to him. 18 goals, you can't really complain with that at this level. A winger who gets that level of output is worth sticking around. And I know people say all he does is score tap-ins and that lot, but that's a crucial part of the game. And those tap-ins got us the Europa League. That's how important it is. So fair play to Brennan. But yes, Solanke should be disappointed he didn't get it.
And last but not least, top assister, we both went for Sonny. Who was our top assister?
Who
this
was?
season?
Let me see.
I don't even know.
I think it might have been him, It was either him or Maddison. And we're going all competitions.
We'll do both and we'll see.
All competitions, it was Kulusevski and Son level. Him and Son were level. In the Premier League, it was Son. So not a bad prediction from us.
Come on, Sonny boy. And you lot say he's washed. He ain't never washed, Sonny. But in terms of predictions, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now we're going to go on to our predictions for everything, not just Spurs, but everything outside of Spurs. So who did we predict to win the Premier League? I better leave now. I don't want to be on this stream anymore because I predicted bloody the scum. I predicted the scum to
Shocking.
win the league.
Didn't even get close.
And, well, they did come second.
Not close, mate.
Close to
Didn't
Man
get
City.
Only by a point, I think, in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah. Still went for Man City.
True. But Liverpool obviously ran away with it. But look, to be fair, Man City they had the fall off finally this season after 4 years in a row. So it is what it is. But Arsenal will be gutted. They didn't win it.
Yeah. In terms of FA Cup, who did we predict to win the FA Cup? Sim went for Newcastle.
Not a terrible prediction. They won the Carabao. All right. I predicted them to break their trophy.
Look, no one's
drought.
predicting Palace to win the FA Cup.
No, went for Liverpool. Well, Liverpool got to the final of the Carabao, didn't they?
Yeah.
But didn't win it. I guess you predicted Liverpool to be trophy winners. I predicted Newcastle to be trophy winners.
Yeah.
Not a terrible prediction. Not a terrible prediction.
Carabao Cup. Who did we predict for the Carabao Cup? I predicted Tottenham. Sim predicted Liverpool. You predicted the losers in the finalists.
Yeah, not a terrible prediction. They got to the final. Newcastle obviously won it. Okay, not terrible.
In terms of overachievers of the season, oh my God, this is so money. This is so money. For overachievers, we both picked West Ham.
Nah, it's terrible, man. That is shocking. That is shocking. Yeah, that's bad. That is bad. Obviously, Lopetegui lost his job, in November, October, and they didn't get any better. They had a shocker, considering, I know we're one to talk considering our season, but they should be so disappointed with the talent they have. And also they, one game a week and all that kind of stuff. And the way they've performed this season has been shocking, really shocking.
So who have been the overachievers of the season been? Probably Crystal Palace, right? FA Cup
Forest.
winners. Or Forest.
Yeah, Forest or Palace.
I think
One of the
Palace. Forest, the Conference League, no?
Yeah, but they were in the
Obviously
obviously
playing Europa League football next season.
in terms of that, then yeah. But obviously Palace finished 12th in the league. Is this? I guess we're looking at maybe Palace. Palace have a good shout. I think it's between Palace and Forest. I would say between those two.
Yeah. I mean, Liverpool, clearly.
On Liverpool as well, but but they ended up with a very similar points total than last season.
Yeah,
The
but
other
it's
teams fell off.
Not the point, though. Like, none of us predicted Liverpool for the title.
True, no one was really
Slot in his
predicting them.
first season after Klopp. Everyone was saying it was going to be so hard.
Yeah, but is it more of a overachievement for Liverpool to do that from where they were last year, or for Forest to jump from 17th to 7th, or from Palace to win their first ever trophy? You know what I mean?
Yeah. First ever trophy is just mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Newcastle as well won their first trophy in 50,
And
60 years, whatever.
And they finished 5th, so that was a pretty good achievement.
Yeah. So there's a few shouts there. Underachievers of the season, what did we predict? I predicted Man City.
And I predicted Chelsea. Yeah,
I think
Chelsea.
Man City are the underachievers of the season.
You think so?
Yeah.
Not Man
Why would-
United?
Look, there is Man United, but
They
Man
finished
City.
16th.
It's true, but Man City, off the back of what they've been,
Yeah.
they've been like, the best team of Premier League history, pretty much. Four titles in a row, has it been?
Yeah.
A Champions League in there as well. For them to be fighting for top 4 and to take home no trophy at the end of the season, like, that's got to be losing in an FA Cup final to Palace.
I think it's up there, but I don't think it's more than Man United.
I think it is.
Nah, come on. How can you say it's more? Man United finished 15th, no trophies, their worst season ever. Like they wanted to compete for top 4 this season, and they ended up in their lowest ever position. And they're a massive club. Like, how can you say they're not big? Like, at least Man City still finished 3rd,
Yeah, but
only a few points off Arsenal,
Were
and
there
they
any
recovered the
expectations
situation.
on Manchester United this season?
Yeah, for sure. You
What
go
were the
back to back to the predictions at the beginning of the season. They had signed De Ligt.
Yeah.
They had signed who else they signed? They signed Xerxes. They spent quite a bit of money in the
Yeah,
summer.
but everyone said
Everyone said they're going to be competing for top 4.
everyone said that their manager's going to be sacked like early in the season.
No one said that.
Yeah, they did.
No, they didn't.
Of course they did.
They said maybe at the end of last season when they decided to keep him, but they spent a lot of money. If you watch everyone's predictions, everyone's saying they're going to be competing for top 4. Everyone was saying they're going to be competing for top 4. You watch the beginning of the season in the overlap. Neville said he wouldn't swap Man United's midfield for Liverpool's. That's what he said. Like
that's
these,
Neville.
but these were they were sort of seen as a team that will be competing for Europe this this season, and they completely. At least I know you could say Tottenham, but at least we won the Europa, so we can't get involved in that conversation because we got a trophy. Man United got nothing, and they're 15th with nothing to show for it. Nothing. It's got to be Man United. It has to be.
Well, I mean, both clubs are probably 1 and 2, aren't they? Man United and Man City.
Man United and Man City. Who else would there be? Probably those two. I guess you maybe put West Ham in there, but I don't think
It's not like, as much as we predict them to be overachievers, it's not a shock to see West Ham where they are. You know what I mean? They're used to being in that position.
I mean, the name, yes, the team probably is a shock.
Like, I just think Man City, like, to take home no trophy where everyone was saying they're going to win the league and to be in a top 4 battle till the end of the season.
Yeah, but also the fall off was going to happen at some point, and for their fall off to be 3rd place, it's not the worst fall off in the world, is it?
Well, no one expected it this season.
No, but we also know that that run can only carry on for so long.
Yeah, but still, nobody expected it this season, though.
Yeah, but obviously Rodri got injured.
Yeah,
didn't
that
he
was
at the
a big
beginning of the season?
part
That was a
of it,
big
yeah.
thing.
Do you
But
think Man City are going to be
back?
back up there next season,
Yeah.
fighting for the title? Mm-hmm. They need to have a good summer.
We'll get
De
Rodri
Bruyne
back.
leaving.
Obviously, Rodri's. We'll see what condition he's in, but you get him back. You make some signing. De Bruyne will leave, but they're going to sign someone. They're going to sign someone good in that position. I'm not saying they'll win it, but they'll be back challenging.
They're signing
I'm
Ryan
certain of it.
Cherky for that position.
They'll be back up there. They'll be back up there challenging. They'll be close to Liverpool for sure.
All right, now we are going to look at our player predictions. Oh, my God, this is muddy. Let's get into it. I went for Odegaard.
Rodri.
Odegaard was like probably flop of the season, and Rodri was injured all season.
He got injured in September. What can I do? He was playing brilliantly before. Well, actually, he was rested a lot before.
Do we know the winners of it yet? We don't know.
We
Salah
don't
was
know.
obviously
We know.
player of the
Yeah,
season.
Salah. It's going to be Salah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. What can I say?
I don't know why I was glazing over Arsenal so much pre-season, man. It's actually
You got sucked in. You got suckered into it, mate.
It makes me feel dirty, man. It really does make me feel
You got suckered into their PR. That was it.
And I never get suckered into their PR as well.
You know, they had a great second after last season. You're thinking, oh, God, they're really going to do it. And I don't know, you just got suckered in by them. Never bow to them. Odegaard was a flop, really big flop.
Massive flop.
Did Maddison have? People say I saw Goldbridge saying that Maddison was flop of the season, which I think is
Maddison's
ridiculous.
had a better season than Odegaard.
No, in terms of goal contributions, did
Forget
Maddison
goal
not?
contributions, just impact.
I agree, but in terms of goal contributions, just by that, in the Premier League, Maddison got 9 goals, 7 assists. What did Odegaard? I feel like barely got much. So that's 16 goal contributions. Odegaard got 11, 3 goals, 8 assists. He had such a poor season.
Yeah.
I know he was injured, but so was Maddison. He was injured for a bit this season as well.
Yeah.
So
Odegaard has been horrific.
Maddison
this
had a much
season,
better
and I'm
season than
telling you,
Odegaard.
out of everything I've predicted, that's the muddiest thing of the muds.
Yeah,
I'm firmly in the mud for that, man.
he had a terrible season. Rodri, who knows?
I'm actually sitting here fuming at myself for predicting this.
What can I say
Fuming.
about Rodri? You know, he got injured. This is what it is. You just got. It's just a luck of the draw.
Yeah, well, last season you were making the argument that Harvey Barnes is flop of the season because he's been injured all season.
No, before the season I said it.
Yeah, but then you were trying to
Yeah, because when he
at the
played,
end
he
of the
wasn't
season.
great. When he played, he wasn't good. And I heard that, and I was listening to the True Geordie, who said he's the biggest waste of money they've ever spent. And I was like, okay, maybe I've got something here. But Rodri, obviously, we know how good Rodri is, and it's just he got injured. What can I do?
All right, young player of the season. Oh God, not again.
Another player who got injured. Basically, if I predict you to get player of the year, just watch your ACL because you're just going to go, essentially. Bob didn't play at all this season because he got an ACL right at the beginning, and that was it.
Maybe I should predict Arsenal every season because these guys didn't have a great season. I mean, Saka, had a big injury, didn't he? So
Saka to be, yeah. And to be honest, when he played, he just wasn't he was good. I think he actually started the season fairly well in terms of like numbers.
Yeah.
But in terms of how he's played, I think he's played better.
he got
this
a crazy
season.
amount of assists, I think.
Yeah, he got a good amount of assists. Look, I don't think we can sit and say he had a bad season, but definitely wasn't the young player of the year. Who would we say is young player of the year?
Young player of the year. Remind me of the.
I'm trying to think who the young players. Guy in the chat. In the chat? Give us some young player of the year nominees. I think Saka might have been nominated. Was he nominated?
Is it 24-25?
Yeah. Oh, Delap.
Delap, Elanga, Gravenberg, Dean
Hyson,
Hyson,
he's a
Cole
shout.
Palmer, João Pedro,
João Pedro.
Morgan Rogers, Saliba. That's it. Out of those, it's either Rogers or Hyson for me.
Rogers, Hyson. Who was the first? Oh, Gravenberg, though. He's got a
Gravenberg.
shout as well. He's got a shout because he's been brilliant
Yeah.
this season, up until maybe the last month where he's not been great. But before that, remember as well, he didn't have a great first season at Liverpool. They didn't know where he really fitted in. And everyone was saying before the season, if Liverpool don't sign a sixth, they might even drop out of the top four, people were saying. And they just put Gravenberg there. And not only did he do a job, he thrived and he was brilliant and he won the league. A large part was because of him filling in that
let's
position.
give it to Gravenberg then. Biggest flop of the season. Let's see what we're going for here. Ha ha ha. Two flops.
Come on, we done very
Sim
well
went
here.
for Dewsbury Hall. I went for Darwin Núñez, and both of them have been big
Massive
flops.
flops. Who's the bigger flop? Probably Dewsbury Hall, I'd say.
You would say that though, wouldn't you?
Well, no, but Núñez, as much as he's been a flop, don't get me wrong, he's been massive flop, but he did have his moments, those 2 last-minute goals against Brentford. That's pretty much it, I can remember, to be honest. But Dewsbury Hall barely played at all.
Yeah, especially as he was like Maresca's guy as well.
Yeah, I think he's had like in the Premier League, how many games has he actually played? And when he has played, he's not been good. Conference League, he's not been terrible, I guess you can say.
But the thing is, like, I feel like a lot more was expected out of Núñez than Dewsbury Hall, though.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. But yeah, I think a lot more was expected out of Dewsbury Hall than we got.
Yeah,
We got nothing, literally nothing. Did he score a Premier League goal at all? Did he do
Might
anything?
as well. Like Darwin Núñez is walking away with a Premier League medal, and
Exactly.
he had no impact in that whatsoever.
Well, apart from that Brentford game.
Yeah, the one game out of 38.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dewsbury Hall had an impact in at least one game as well.
Would you say well, I can't remember in the Premier League.
Sammy, did he? One game?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Did he 3 or 4?
3 or 4, yeah. Come on, Sam. Sammy, you know Dewsbury Hall's a bigger flop than Núñez. He knows it. He knows. Who would you say? Would we say he's the biggest flop of the season? I don't know who would be a bigger flop. Who's anyone signed for big money who's just been absolutely terrible?
Who did United sign in the summer?
Xerxes. In terms of, it's not a player, but you could say Højlund maybe. Højlund's up there.
Did Højlund sign this summer?
Núñez didn't, so I guess it wasn't just
Oh,
signings.
it's not signing. Yeah, Højlund for sure. Who else, guys? Let
Højlund's
us
up
know
there.
your flops of the
Who's
season.
up for biggest flop of the season? Yeah, Højlund's definitely up there. Odegaard. I mean, it's Odegaard up there for flop of the season.
Odegaard is up there for flop of the season in my
Just
opinion.
because of how far he's fallen. Who else is there? Flop of the season. Anthony obviously left in January. He was brilliant in the second half, but for United it was terrible. It's probably Onana. He's bad. He's been very, very bad. Any West
Timo.
Ham players? Kudus has been terrible.
Timo.
Yeah, Timo. Werner's there. João Felix. Walker. Someone saying he was terrible for City. For City for a
There are
bit.
so many, to be honest. There are so many.
I'm-
I've got it.
Gone.
Phil Foden.
Foden. What
Foden
a
is flop
terrible
of the
season.
season.
Yeah, he's been terrible.
Player of the year to this.
Yeah. How many goals did he actually end up? Because everyone was saying it's coming, and it never came, literally. Apart from, I think there was one spell in January where he looked all right, but 7 goals, 2 assists, not good at all from Phil Foden this season.
I couldn't believe how bad Foden's been. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's just he's recovering from the Euros,
Literally recovered the whole season. Grealish, Fulkrug, someone saying Somerville has been terrible.
To go from where they were last season to where they are now, I think the 2 biggest disappointments this season is Foden and Odegaard, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, let's look at our surprise packages of the season. What have we got?
Well, best
here?
signing we've got first.
Oh, best signing. Sorry, I wanted to glaze over that one.
Yeah,
we
best
both
signing-
went for Solanke.
Yeah.
Who has the best signing of the season been?
Who has the best signing of the season been? Well, Liverpool didn't sign anyone, did they? So no one from them. Marmouche.
Dean
Pretty
Hyson.
Hyson, yeah, Hyson's there. Bergval, someone said. What about down? Liam Delap. I know they got relegated, but he was a top signing this summer. Probably a load of Brighton players up there. Evan Nilsson, maybe. I don't know. Signing of the season. Baleba. That's a good shout.
Minte.
Minte. Well, I don't know about signing of the season, but he was very good. Yeah, Marmouche. Yeah, people
are
saying. I
saying.
think Marmouche is not a bad shout. Kirkes wasn't a signing,
Was he not?
I think he's been
No,
there
that's
for a
what
couple.
people are saying.
Pretty sure he's been there for more than this year.
Maybe he came last summer.
Yeah, I'm pretty. This is his second year at least.
People are saying Marmouche. I mean, he did have an impact. He scored a lot of goals.
Came in January though.
Yeah.
Trying to think who else.
I think signing of the season has been Hyson.
Hyson.
I think it's been Hyson.
Considering he's just moved to Madrid for 50 million, 19-year-old centre back. They've probably, I don't know how much they signed him for, but probably quadrupled their money, or doubled at least, or tripled. Yeah.
Unreal. He's been unreal.
Brilliant.
And who said we should sign him in the summer? It was me. I said it. Why didn't they
Should have
listen
got
to
him.
me?
Should have got him. You should add you to the recruitment.
They really
staff.
should, man. They really should. A surprise package of... Oh, wait, another one. Evan Nilsson.
I said Evan Nilsson.
Oh, you
yeah.
said him, yeah. He's been brilliant.
He's been very good.
Yeah, surprise package of the season. Who have we gone for? Sim went for Weaver, and I went for Minte.
Minte's a good shout.
It is a good shout.
I'll give you that. Weaver, I have to say, he's been a bit disappointing actually. I thought he actually started all right, but he's got injured, and also he just hasn't been great in the middle. In fact, they had to play him at right back recently. I think there's still a good player there, but hasn't. I wouldn't call. I think I got that one wrong.
Surprise package of the season is definitely Chris Wood.
Wood, yeah,
Definitely.
some people say Murillo's or Milenkovic.
Murillo, Milenkovic, Wood. Those three players, I think, have all been,
Although, to be fair to Chris Wood, give him his props. Last season, I think he got 14 league goals between January and the end of the season. So maybe we should have seen it coming. But I think, what did he get? 18 goals?
Yeah.
Maybe someone like Wissa, 19 goals?
Yeah,
He's a surprise
Wissa.
package. And
Wissa
Mbeumo
and
less so,
Mbeumo.
because I think we just know how good he is. But Wissa, we know he was good, but 19 goals good, I didn't think he was that good. And he did get it, so fair play to him. Matt Sells, people are saying. Ismaili Assar. Munoz.
Munoz's been brilliant this season.
Munoz is a shout.
Brilliant.
He's a shout. Yeah, I think who else? I guess we can say Gravenberg is a surprise package. How good he's been. Minter, you should be happy with that.
I am happy with that. Golden Boot, we both went for the easy option in Erling Haaland.
Yeah,
And I mean, he did have an injury, but still, Haaland wasn't anywhere near as good as he has been.
but you finished second.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not the worst.
This is a
prediction,
bad
but,
season for Haaland. though,
Yeah,
you know what I
bad
mean?
season. You're right. Yeah,
Oh, that's a good shout, actually, for surprise package, Ole Einar.
Ole Einar. Yeah,
He was getting relegated with Fulham a few years back.
he was. Cunha
Cunha.
had a great season.
For Cunha not to be in the conversation for player of the season, I think is a joke.
Agreed. Tielemans, someone said. Yeah, Cunha's just been phenomenal for Wolves.
Cunha and Tielemans should be both up for surprise package for sure. I think they've both been brilliant. But let's move on to the Playmaker Award. Sim went for Bruno, and I went for Mohamed Salah. Spot on.
Well done.
Finally
Yeah.
got one.
That's good. Yeah, good prediction. I don't know how many did Bruno actually end on. Trying to figure that out. Let me see how many he actually ended on. He wasn't in the top. Oh yeah, 10 assists,
10 assists. And what did Salah get? 18.
18. So Bruno was fourth. Bruno was fourth in the assist chart. And yeah, Salah 18. Yeah, he smashed both of them. He was 6 clear of Isaac for Golden Boot. Oh, so Isaac actually finished second in Golden
right.
Boot. And he was 6 clear of Murphy. Murphy finished second for assists.
That's mad, isn't it?
Jacob Murphy. Wow. That's mad, isn't it? Jacob Murphy finished second.
But Salah had won this by second half of the season.
It's mad. It's mad, right? Everyone says the Premier League, it's so far ahead of all these other leagues. In terms of when we're having this Europa League conversation, I know it's like a bit of a separate conversation, but they're saying they have this Europa League conversation like, oh, it's so much bigger than the Serie A and Premier League and all that kind of stuff. And then you look at who's in the top 10 of goals and assists. You've got Wissa, you've got Chris Wood. You've got like people like, I know Mateta's a good player, but you've got people like Mateta, who you wouldn't say is like one of the best strikers in Europe. And then for assists, you've got people like Anthony Robinson, you've got Jacob Murphy. Like, doesn't really, read these names, you don't think it represents the best in Europe, do you?
It's true, but you look at the other leagues and see who's there in the other leagues.
I know, I'm just saying, it's just, when these players are finishing in the higher echelons of this league, it doesn't really scream like it's so far ahead of the other leagues.
It's true, but those are like one-off seasons, you know what I mean? Like every league has those kind of players that do one madness in a one-off season. Like everyone's got them, and I feel like if you put Jacob Murphy in a Bundesliga, he'll probably smash it out.
Yeah, maybe.
But anyway, let's move on, and we're going to look at our table predictions. So we got a scoring system. So if you get it spot on, you get 0, and it's +1 for every kind of space you're away. And the aim of the game is to get as little points as possible. And yeah, let's let's get into it. So I predicted Man City.
Wow, I've got 5 zeros. Look at that.
Yeah, you predicted the bottom 3.
Bottom 3 and Wolves and Everton.
You've done well.
And +1s for Fulham and Palace.
You've done very well. And I got a +17 because I tried to be the class clown and put Man City at bottom of the league for their charges.
That is... You got a plus. Would you get any? You got what? You got a 0 for Everton.
And I got a +10 because I put Forest at 17th.
Forest at 17th.
Where did you
I
put
got.
Forest? You got them at.
They're at 15th. I got a +7 for Brentford. I have them in 17th, and they finished 10th. I'm happy with 5 zeros. I'm happy with that.
I got 1-0 for Everton.
+8 for Forest. I'm in 15th. +5 for Bournemouth. I'm in 14th. You had them in 11th.
That's pretty mad. 5 zeros there.
No, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with 5 zeros.
You should be happy with that, but I'm not happy with mine. I'm not happy with mine as well. And as well, like you got Fulham and Palace, just one space.
Yeah, one space. That's pretty decent. That is pretty decent.
So, yeah, that is not good for me. Basically, the Man City thing as well screwed me up. And I had Ipswich to stay up.
Well, you would have lost anyway.
Yeah, I probably would have lost anyway. Let's look at the top half.
Let's look at the top 10.
Top 10, I didn't get one right in the top 10.
I got 1-0.
And you got Arsenal.
But you got 4 1s, which is not terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, you did a lot better than me in this one. Because you got a lot of 1s here. And I've got United and Spurs, obviously you as well, but I've got +13, +10. Newcastle +2, Villa +2, Chelsea +5, Brighton +2. But I did get a 0, but I didn't get any lower than I didn't get any 1s.
Yeah, I put Man United in 4th.
Man in 4th. I put them in 5th. So I got one
Why would
closer.
I put Man United in 4th? If you take away the 17 points for Man City...
See, you were expecting Man United.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. If I take away the 17 points for Man City, it's like still very close.
It's a lot closer. Well, it's only 20 points. So you take away... Yeah, all of a sudden it's 3 points. You did a lot better than me in this half. Although I got a few +2s. Newcastle, Villa. Got a 0, +2 for City. Yeah, it's not the best. Not my best performance. Obviously, West Ham +8. Yeah, so did you.
Tottenham in 3rd.
Chelsea, Chelsea 5th, +5.
This is not good.
God.
Look at West Ham. We both put West Ham in 6th.
Shocking.
How many of our top half predictions finished in the bottom half then? West Ham, Man U, Tottenham. That's
3 of them, yeah, 3 of them.
Newcastle had in 8th. You had in 7th.
7th, they finished 5th. Villa, I had in 8th and they finished 6th. Chelsea finished 4th, I had them in 9th. Brighton, they finished 8th. Okay, that's not terrible. I'm a lot happy with my bottom half predictions.
I bet you are. But that is how we predicted the season, guys. That is how we predicted the season. So we're going to finish off the stream. Actually, before we do that, I think there was a couple of super chats that we can get through. What have we got? Which one did it start with? George, member for 40 months. Big up to you, George. And he says, well said, Ben and Sim. Enoch Levy out. Big up to you, George.
George, you?
That's my uncle.
You what?
That's my uncle.
What are you talking about?
That's my uncle. George, yeah.
This isn't your uncle. We know George.
Oh, well, I don't understand the joke.
Why is that a good joke? C9 Manic says, if Ange's to go, I'd love a look at Liam Rossinia. Haven't seen the name, but he's done amazing things at Strasbourg with his historically young squad.
He has.
Yeah.
They did bottle Champions League on the final day, which is classic Tottenham. But yeah, he's done a brilliant job. He's gone there as a young English manager. I think he's had jobs before there as well. and they've, I think, had one of the best defenses in Ligue 1, and they love him over there. I think he's really built something special. I don't know if Tottenham is a much bigger job than Strasbourg, but yeah.
All right, next one is from Malware. It says, despite the Premier League woes, I believe Ange should be given the time to continue his project. His positive impact on the club's culture, combined with the trophy win, provides a strong foundation. What do you reckon about that?
So, I agree, and I think people underestimate, shouldn't underestimate what a massive thing it is to win that trophy, just for the mentality of the club, make this team winners, feel that winning feeling, and I think we can really build on that. The players are behind him. I think, as much as the league campaign has been an absolute shambles, and I know there have been reasons for it, and it's obviously the reasons for it don't justify how bad it's been, but I really think, we've seen when we click, we get it right, we can be a very good team. We haven't seen it anywhere near enough, but I think the belief in this manager that the players are going to get from winning that trophy, and also not just that, but him saying he's going to do it, that's going to basically make the players really believe, hang on his every word. I really believe that. And if everyone goes into this next season together, I really think we can do something. I do.
Yeah. What do you reckon that something is?
Definitely get back into the European conversation on the league and have a good run of these cups. Maybe a top 6 cup or something like that. And that would be a massive improvement.
All right. Let's go and look at the season tier list. Obviously, we bring you the month-to-month tier list every month, going from awful to not good to okay to good to very good, excellent, and player of the season. And it's all averaged out on our player ratings that we've given across the whole season. And I think this is going to be really interesting to see where players land. I don't think there's going to be many in the top echelons, because our player ratings have been pretty awful this season.
Well, put it this way: we've had a terrible league campaign and a good Europa League campaign, but the player ratings takes it all into account. And unfortunately for these players, there's a lot more Premier League games than Europa League games. So, that's obviously going to take its toll.
Yeah. So, let's start off with Matisse Tell.
Matisse Tell,
I think he's going to go into not good.
Whole season 5.5.
Yeah, he goes into not good. Matisse Tell.
Yeah, hasn't really done it since coming in. Played 16 times this season, and unfortunately for him, it's just been poor. It's just been poor for a lot of the time he's been here. Hasn't been able to really get going. Obviously, we loaned him, I think, with the idea of trying to get an immediate impact. But unfortunately, given he's 19 and didn't play a lot of football before he came, it didn't happen. It didn't happen as much as we'd like. I do think there's a good player in there. I really believe that. And given time, I think he can really be a good player for whoever, for us or whoever signs him next. But I don't know if we saw enough to justify signing him.
Not for me. I was so excited when we signed him, because I really believed in the player and what I saw of him of Bayern. I really thought he was going to come in and make an instant impact, but it was anything but that, to be honest, and he really disappointed me. There were flashes at times where you're thinking, all right, this guy's got something, and I do think he's got something, but I think this market, we need experience, and I wouldn't re-sign Matisse Tell, to be honest. I would look for more experience in the summer. Would you re-sign him?
I'm conflicted on it. I think I wouldn't sign him as our main option. I would be open to signing him again, but we need another top-class forward on top of him, for sure. And I just fear that we wouldn't do that. So
yeah, but is there enough space in the squad to sign 2 wingers? Don't think there is.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It's either him or someone else.
Then I wouldn't sign him.
Yeah. Next up is Mikey Moore. So obviously a really good Europa League campaign. When he did play in the Premier League, didn't really get to grips with things. I think he's going to go into okay.
6.2.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, for, if he's going to be judged against everyone else in the squad, okay is fair. But for a 17-year-old making his name in the squad, he did very well.
Yeah, agreed. And obviously, yeah, we are judging him as if he's just a regular member, and as that's the reality. But I think 16 games this season, if you told him before the season he'll probably play that much, he'd probably be very happy with it. And I think he's shown in some games, like RZ at home, and obviously scored against Elfsborg and those kind of things. And also came on against Everton, I remember. Goodison was brilliant. So there's been some games where he's shown this is a serious talent. But look, he's 17. It's going to take time.
The thing is with Mikey Moore, right? He got that illness at just the wrong time for him because he was just starting to make an impact in the Europa League. He just scored that goal, and then he got ill. And I felt like if he would never have got ill at that point, we might have seen further development in him.
And he would have got so much more game time because he had so many injuries.
Yeah.
So it's a shame.
Richarlison up next. Not that much football this season. How many games did he end up playing?
18.
18 games. I'm going to say he goes into probably not good or okay.
5.7.
Yeah, he goes into not good.
Yeah, hasn't been good this season. Obviously, he's been very sporadic in terms of when he's been fit. I mean, 18 games the whole season tells its own story. In terms of lately, did contribute, I'd say. Fair enough, he contributed to the Europa League win with some good performances, but it's not like he was incredible. He just was a good part of the team. But it's been a poor season overall, unfortunately, for Richarlison.
Brennan Johnson again. I'm going to say he goes into good.
5.6.
Oh, he goes into not good.
And apparently, Rishi's had a better season, apparently, we're saying, than Johnson, which is
mad.
Incredible. I mean, it goes to show what we think of a lot of his performances, regardless of the goals. Because it's like when he scores, he'll get like a 7. He rarely gets more than a 7 because he either scores and doesn't do anything or doesn't do anything. But he does score a lot. And when he doesn't do anything, we give him like a 3. And then when he does do something, we give him like a 7. He's never getting 8s and 9s, is he? Very rarely. So that's what's leading to that kind of score.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because...
Top goal scorer, and we're saying he's been not good.
Because he's literally a hero now.
I know. I think not good is very harsh, but...
It is what it is. That's where he goes. That's where we rated him. Who's next? Next is Solanke. So with Dom Solanke, I think he'll go higher than Brennan. I think he'll go into okay.
6.3.
Yeah, he goes into okay.
Which again, goal scoring record needs improving. Had some good games. I can see at Villa at home, we gave him a 10 out of 10.
I don't think there's going to be much more than okay in this tier list.
Because it's just because of how many bad games we've had, and we've had to rate harshly. He's played 41 games this season, Dom Solanke. But yeah, 6.3. Look, I'm happy with him. I think he's a good player. I did want more from him. I'm not to say I would expect more, but I do think we can see what he offers, and he offers a lot. And I do think maybe next season he can up his goal output. I am sure of it. But as well, I'm a bit disappointed that maybe his finishing ability is not as good as I'd hoped.
Yeah. Cuti Romero, unfortunately, I think he's going to go into not good as well.
6.4.
Oh, he goes into okay. On the cusp of good, to be honest. So that's the best one yet.
Yeah. Saved himself lately with a 10, 9, and 8, and a 9 in the latest Europa League games. Before that, start the season very awkwardly. Got a 6, 9, 6. And he's been inconsistent ever since. And then they did get a 1 out of 10 away at Wolves. But recently, he's got an 8, 9, and a 10. So I think that's really saved his overall season, Cuti Romero.
Wilson Odebear up next. So Odebear, he started off okay, got injured for a long time, and then he came back, had that game against Alkmaar. But apart from that, I think he flattered to deceive a little bit. And I think Odebear is really inconsistent from what we've seen from him so far. I think he's got attributes that could do really well in our team. But I've been a bit disappointed.
I just think he's a young player who's barely played. He got a big injury, 2 big injuries at the beginning of the season, and he's basically just been coming back from it. I think we've seen flashes, but hasn't really got the time on the pitch that much. He's got quite a bit on the end, but he needs more game time. He's young. We signed him as a 19-year-old. He's only had 1 season in the Prem. Just needs a bit more time. But look, just purely based on what we've seen, and regardless of context, yeah, he's been inconsistent. 5.5.
5.5, yeah, not good.
Not good for Wilson.
Next up is Lucas Bergvall. Now we're going to get someone good, hopefully. And I'm going to hopefully say he's been, I don't know, because there's the beginning period. So I'm going to give the benefit of doubt. I'm going to say very good.
6.6.
Oh, come on. He goes into
6.6
good.
Goes into good. Well, his last game against Liverpool away, he got a 5. So I think that maybe skewed it. Yeah, in the beginning part of the season, mixed. He got a kind of 6s and 7s. But there was this middle period where he was getting consistently 7s, 8s, and 9s. But unfortunately, he just lands on a good 6.6. But yeah, I think overall, though, it's been a very good season for him in terms of his first season.
Yeah, unbelievable season. Next up is Yves Bissouma. I think Bissouma's going to go into not good, unfortunately.
6.1.
Oh, not bad.
Goes
He goes
into
into
okay.
okay.
Goes into
One of the
okay.
better players.
Again, look, well, if I look at his ratings beginning of the season, first 5 games, he got a 9, 7, 7, 8, 5, and then 9. So quite a good start. But then during January, he was averaging, I can see here, during that period, he was averaging a 5 in that period, like January, February time. Then lately, 8, 6, 8, and a 9. So
What was the one before the 9?
was a 4.
You missed that one out.
Yeah, but over, that was in the Prem. But I'm saying in the Europa League, 2 8s and a 9.
Yeah, he did very well in the Europa League. Yeah,
So-
better than I expected, to be fair, for Bissouma. Next up is Will Lancashire. I mean, he only played 1 or 2 games. I think he goes into can't judge.
Yeah, Lancashire. I mean, 6.5, but yeah, probably
he goes into can't judge.
a couple
Lancashire.
games, and then we only gave him 2 ratings and went on loan.
Regulon as well. We'll put him into can't judge, I think.
Did play 5 games.
5? You wanna rate him?
He played 5 games. Got 5.6.
5.6. I mean, what are we saying is like you can be judged on a whole season? Like 5 games still seems a bit little to me.
Does it? I mean, yeah, I don't know. What's the barometer for a whole season you could be judged on if you've played? I mean, 5 games seems to be probably the minimum, I would say.
I'd say a bit more maybe. Like 7 or 8 games.
7 or 8? Why 7 or 8? What's the difference?
Because like Regulon, like he played 5 games, right? But one of them was against Tamworth.
Yeah.
The other games that he played is in like completely nothing games. Like he had no impact in the season,
He played
and he
5
was never
games.
meant to have an impact in the season.
He still
And
played
he was
5
never
games.
going to be picked like in any sort of game. Like
Why does that
where
matter?
we wanted to win.
Why does that matter?
Because
He played 5 games.
Because he's pretty much disregarded as a Tottenham player this season. He was used as like a
does
training cone.
Why does any of that matter when we're judging his performances over the season?
Because he's going to be getting a better rating than some of the players that we had this season over the course of the season, and some of those players had a lot more impact and a positive impact at Spurs this season.
Look, he's played 5 games. I don't know about all that. He's just played 5 games. We're rating him on those 5 games.
I think it's way too low. Let's see what the comments think. They say 10 plus.
10
Saying
plus?
5 way too low.
All right.
Look, if you want to put him in there, you put him in there. But I
He
think
got a 5.6. I mean, it's not. I don't know what the big deal is. He got a 5.6.
all right, put him in. Whatever. He goes to not good.
He goes into not good.
Ben Davis. He probably goes into not good as well. Maybe okay.
Ben Davis. He 6.1.
Yeah. Okay. Just about.
A lot of 5s and 6s for Ben Davis this season. But to be fair to him, he got saved because at the beginning of the season, he came in that little period when we had the injury crisis. He got 7, 8, 6, 10, 8, and 8 in December time. So he was good, but after that, it's just been a lot of 5s and 6s. But yeah, actually, I think he's played over 20 games this season, Davis.
Yeah.
So he actually played quite a bit.
Yeah, he did 'cause of the injuries.
He's played 26 games. But yeah, 6.1. Okay.
Pape. Pape hasn't had a great season this year, unfortunately. I think he's going to go into not good.
5.8.
Yeah. Close to okay, but yeah, I was really expecting Pape to kick on this season. Had a good performance in the final, but apart from that, he's flattered the sea for me.
You know, Pape has played our most games this season.
What, more than Porro?
53.
And Porro?
53. Porro is, I think, a bit less. I think he's played like 48, I think I saw. Porro's played 48.
Wow.
So Pape is, I mean, that goes to show how much he's played, especially during the injury crisis. So, and also a young player as well. I know he showed a lot of consistency last season, but I think maybe cut him a bit of slack. He's played so much Throughout the whole injury crisis and whatever. He never got injured or anything. He's playing a hell of a lot of football. And yes, there's no getting around it. He's had a lot of poor games, and his standards maybe dropped from last season. But he also did have some really good games as well. And look, I'm not saying give him a pass because he's had a poor season. No, don't get it wrong. But cut him some slack. I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's like no way I want him sold or anything. I still believe in his
Great
ability.
performance in the final as well.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just not been a great season for him. Next up is Mickey van der Ven. Surely he's had a good season. I'm going to say he goes into good.
7.
Come on, very
We've
good.
got
for
a
Mickey.
very good in there. We've got one. Mickey van der Ven.
Yeah, to be fair, every time he's stepped foot on the pitch, apart from maybe a couple of Premier League games when he just came back from his injury, apart from that, he's been very good.
21 games he's played this season. Yeah, and average of 7. Obviously, had big parts of the season, but he barely played. But to be fair, I remember the Brighton game. He had a bit of a mare away.
Yeah.
Apart from that, he's been pretty.
Minte put him in a pretzel, didn't he?
Yeah. Apart from that, though, he's had a lot of very good games. Most of the time, he's been pretty consistently great. So fair play to him.
Next up is Radu Dragusin. Probably not good.
5.7.
Yeah, he goes into not good as well.
Obviously suffered that ACL in January time. Played 28 games this season.
Yeah, he's just not been a good fit for the system. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And he got sent off in the first 10 minutes, 15
Against
minutes.
Karabag.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a period, it looked between like November and December, where he was averaging about 6.5. So that's decent.
Didn't he start the Etihad when we won 4-0?
Yeah, so you got a good mark there. But then after the Liverpool home game in the in the league where we beat 6-3, he was only averaging a 5. So I think he let his standard slip. But he was actually not having a terrible season in our ratings before that.
Next up is James Maddison. I think he's going to go into good,
6.3.
Oh, just misses out. He goes into okay.
So beginning of the season, he had got 2 10 out of 10 performances. He got 1 away at Southampton. He got 1 away at City as well. 8 out of 10 against Villa. So basically, before January, he was averaging close to a 7. And then lately, he's had good form, but lately he's been good. But it's also, I think, the problem is Europa has been great, and then sprinkled in with just some poor Premier League performance. I think a lot of players is like that. So look, his output was good this season. I thought we had a pretty good season, but yeah, we gave him a 6.3. He only goes into okay.
Archie Gray probably again goes into okay.
5.9.
No, he goes into not good.
5.9. Yeah,
On the cusp.
String of poor performances in the last few weeks, unfortunately.
The whole squad are just in okay and not good.
Yeah, essentially.
Porro next, probably in okay.
6.
Yeah, just about.
Which is weird because, not weird, but his last 7 games, 9, 6, 9, 9, 7, 8, 7, 7. But unfortunately, his performances in the midway through the season was just so poor, consistent. And also, similar to Sarr, he just never missed a game. So he just played so much during that period. And it really, his rating suffered. Because at the beginning of the season, 2 7s, 2 8s, another 7. He actually had a decent start to the season. But that middle period is what I think a lot of these players suffered for. But to be fair, you got to say, these last 2 months, or month at least, he's been fantastic.
Yeah, he has.
Really fantastic.
Next up is Ajayi. He goes into can't judge, but Porro's okay. Porro's okay, right?
Yeah, 6.
Porro's okay. Ajayi can't judge. Destiny Udogi. How many games did Destiny play?
Udogi played. I think he played a fair amount actually. He played 34.
Wow, 34 games Udogi.
Yeah.
He'll probably go into not good or okay or
6.4. Just about misses out.
Nearly
Not
misses out
good.
on a good.
6.4 again, similar to Porro. Last 6 games, 8, 9, 8. There's a 3, but 9 and 7. Brilliant. But again, beginning of the season. Again, he started the season okay. I can see he had 3 8s in a row, but there was again this middle period just before he got injured where he was really suffering, and then he got that injury. But since he's come back, he's been pretty good for us, and brilliant end to the season. But yeah, just about misses out.
Jed Spence. Surely Jed Spencer gets a good.
6.6.
Come on.
6.6.
Come on,
Fair
Jed.
play to Jed. Good season for him. Coming into the side. Not great the last few weeks, but that again, opposite to Porro and Odogi, that middle period probably is what got him that good rating.
Yeah, he kind of fell off, didn't he, when after that Frankfurt game where, you know, everyone expected him to start. Odogi came in and I felt like he lost his way a bit after that
Yeah.
in the Premier League. Next up's Dane Scarlett. He goes into can't judge.
Yeah.
And after that is Rodrigo Bentancur.
6.2.
He goes into okay.
6.2.
Yeah, it's been an up and down season from Bentancur. Some really bad performances, some really good performances, and just some meh performances.
Again, start of the season 9, 7, 7, 8, 5, 9. And again, it's the same. This middle period, lots of low ratings.
Yeah.
But then in the, again, last few weeks, 9, 6, 8, 8, 6, 9. So a really strong end to the season for him, showing what he can do. But again, I think it's for this whole squad. It's the story of the season, like December, January, February, like
Horrible, yeah.
horrible.
Next up is Timo. It's not the same for him, though. I think he goes into awful, surely.
4.6.
Yeah.
4.6.
That's got to be the lowest rating of everyone in the squad.
Yeah, I think so. Literally so horrible, the ratings. 18 games he played.
Yeah.
His highest rating, I can see, was a 7. No,
Must have been
sorry.
the Man City game.
He got an 8 at home to City, and he got a 7 away at Man United. And then all of that, other than that, it's just 4s and 3s.
Didn't he get a good rating away to Palace?
Palace away.
Did he get a 6 or something?
Got a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Timo, hopefully that's the last we've seen of him, to be honest. But
We haven't given a rating since Tamworth.
Yeah.
He hasn't played, yeah.
Next up is Vicario. Vicario probably goes into okay or not good.
6.5.
Oh, he goes into good.
Goes into good.
Big up, big Vic. To be fair, since he came back from injury, he was very good, wasn't he? And then he fell off a little bit again.
Before his injury, he was fantastic. Got a 10 out of 10 against City. Didn't have only had one bad rating, which was against Ipswich. Other than that, didn't get below a 6. Had lots of 7s and 8s. Came back and was brilliant for the first 5 games. 8, 7, 7, 8. 8, 7, 7, 7, 8. And 7 for his first 6. But then he had a bit of an iffy period. Chelsea, iffy. Wolves, iffy. Forest, Liverpool, West Ham, all very, very iffy. Yeah, I think Europa League has been very good. 8s, 7s. So I think he deserves his good rating despite some iffy late form. That's what. But the problem is because it's happened recently. That's what people remember,
Recency
right?
bias, isn't it?
Recency bias. Actually, the whole season, especially beginning, he was really good.
Yeah, fair enough. Decky up next. Obviously, he was on flying form at the beginning of the season. Since his injury, we've barely seen him. Hasn't been good in those performances where we did see him. So I think he's got a fairly good rating. I think he's going to go into good.
6.4.
Ooh, just misses out. It goes into okay.
6.4. That's how. What's mad? Up until. Let me see. This game up until after 25 games, which was the Man United at home in the Carabao Cup, which was December, he was averaging a 7.1.
Yeah.
Since that game, which is the next 25 games, 5.7. So it's literally 25 game splits.
Makes
he played
sense.
50 games. First 25, 7.1, very good. Second, 5.7. So it's been a tale of two halves, I guess, this season
Yep.
with Decky, unfortunately.
And I kept saying, we're overplaying him, and then his form dropped off massively. Next up is Sonny. Sonny will probably go into okay or not good.
6.2.
Yeah, he goes into okay. I'm happy about
6.2.
that.
Yeah. Look, to be fair, I think when it comes to goal contributions, I think he's right up there for us this season. But unfortunately, there has been a lot of bad games. There just has, like a lot of players. And especially lately, lots of very poor scores. But he has had the odd game where he just gets 2 goals or a goal and 2 assists and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he has had some decent games, which has got his goal and assist tally up. Obviously, for end of the season, that's our top assister in all comps and in the league. But yeah, 6.2 overall.
Brandon Austin. What, he played 2 games, I think.
3.
3 games. I think he'll go into can't judge. Antonin Kinski, how many games did he play?
He played 10.
Okay, so what does he go in? Does he go into good?
5.4.
Oh, he goes into not good.
Not good. Oh, no. 1 minute.
Can't
Oh,
be
yeah,
that.
yeah. Sorry. 1 sec. Sorry, I think I did it wrong. 1 second.
Come on, Sim, get it right.
Oh, God. Sorry, give me a sec. 6.
6, that makes more sense.
6.
So he goes into okay.
Yeah, which is,
Another
I think, which is fair. Got a 10 out of 10 on his debut.
Yeah, he blew us away, didn't he? Like, he started to pass the ball and everyone's like, wow, we got a goalkeeper that can pass the ball.
But to be fair, yeah, he after that had some iffy form. But the last 2 games against Palace and Villa, I gave him 2 8s. So, fair play.
Fraser Forster, how many games did he play?
He played 12.
So I think when he first came
13.
in, he actually did really well for us, didn't he?
13 games. Yeah.
I think he could go into okay as well.
6.3.
Yeah, he goes into okay. I think when
6.3.
Fraser surprised a lot of people, didn't he, when he first came in, because he played well, but then his performances just started to decline.
Yeah, when he first came in, he gone 8-7, 8-9, 7-7, 8-7. Bloody hell, he's averaging a 7.6. That's ridiculous. He was in Player of the Season territory, but unfortunately he did drop off. Got a 3-4, then 2 6s. So then he was averaging a 4.7. So yeah.
And last but not least is Kevin Danso, and surely he goes into okay as well, maybe even good. But I think
6.3.
Yeah, okay.
6.3 over the season. So a hell of a lot of OKs.
Yeah.
Which look, it's the maybe it's a flaw in the ratings, but it's kind of like because there's been so many high highs in the Europa League and so many low lows in the Premier League, it kind of averages out. But I guess as an overall, it kind of makes sense.
In terms of player of the season, obviously Mickey van der Ven gets our player of the season.
We Are Tottenham TV player of the season. Is that 2nd year in a row?
I think so, yeah.
I think so. I think he got it last year as well.
And then runners-up would be Bergval, Vicario and Spence. So, yeah, I think it's a shame Maddison misses out on that, because I think Maddison should be in a shout for it. But
yeah,
Bergval got the official player of the season.
I also don't think Johnson should be that low. I think it's also harsh.
I think let's bump Johnson up to very good, just because he scored the winner in
Top goal
Bilbao
scorer.
and top goal scorer.
Brennan.
No, very good, man. Johnson again, ole ole.
Come on. And it's harsh on Maddison. I think he should probably be in good. And even maybe a bit harsh on Decky as well.
I don't think it's harsh on Decky, because he had a half of unbelievable form and then a half of really bad form. I don't think it's harsh on Decky.
Who else is there? Maybe, yeah. I think other than that, is what it is, I think.
Yeah, well, there you have it. That is our season tier list, and we'll be back for more content for you guys tomorrow. But thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.